Okay, well, hi everyone. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Liam Hartree here today with another episode of Presenting Champions for the Simply Inspired podcast. And today I'm joined by a very special guest, Brett Nilsen, who is very well known as a fighter for Spartan, previously competed for Butch Brown as well, and has a massive fight coming up. At the time of this interview is about 2 weeks out for a massive fight on caged steel against an amazing opponent as well. As always with my interviews, this man and his story, it's not just about fighting, but it's also about a few other things he's overcome in his life to get where he is today. So stay tuned. And Brett, thank you for coming on the show, mate. It's awesome to have you on here.
You're welcome, mate. I'm looking forward to it, pal. Yeah, looking forward to speaking to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So starting at the beginning, well, it's not really the beginning, but because we're starting this interview, it's 2 weeks out from the cage steel fight. I'm actually going to start the interview with a bang. How are you feeling? How's your preparations going? How are you feeling on the build up to the fight?
Really good, mate. Yeah, everything's going fine. Obviously, like we just mentioned just before we started recording, been working away on that, but I still have to get my training in. So I've been in gym today in the hotel. It's not ideal because obviously I prefer to be in a boxing gym, but as soon as I get back, I'll be in there. And then if I have to work away again, I just have to make most of what I've got. So, but yeah, everything's going well, mate. I'm ready. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great fight. And yeah, 2 weeks on Saturday, so 20th of May, Doncaster Dome. It's on my doorstep, which I'm so thankful and so grateful to be able to get on a show which is so close to home for especially the people who haven't been able to get to where I've been fighting before, because it's been all over the country and whatnot. So yeah, I'm expecting a good turnout, mate, and it'll be a great night.
Absolutely amazing. It's a great opportunity. And like we said when we was talking on the phone the other day, to be the best, you have to fight the best, isn't it? And I understand your opponent, he's got a good range of experience. He's on the winning streak as well. Let's just touch on that because, like I say, through your career so far, you're not taking any easy fights. You're taking great fights with great opponents. And with this guy, how much do you know about him?
Basically, it's not me who's been really that bothered about checking in on records and things like that. It's been a lot of my mates who have said, "Oh, I've seen this, I've seen that. He's won this, he's won that. He's had this many fights and that many fights." And if I'm totally honest with you, that don't, none of it bothers me. I'd go in a fight with anybody. That's just the way I am. So it doesn't really interest me all that. But yeah, I listen to it and I take it on board. And but yeah, it's going to be a great test for me. This is another step up from what I've had before, which I relish show the challenges and everything. This is what you need to do. You can't just stay at the same level all the time, especially in this game, because you keep winning. Your name gets out there, and you're going to have to step up. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, we're just stepping up, and as we go along, yeah, just enjoying the ride, really.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, true fighting, man, and big risks equal big rewards, don't they? At the end of the day, I mean, that's the way to look at it. So.
That's it, mate. I mean, yeah, I've had. You're going to get it anyway. Any type of fight, people are just going to jump on you and say, "Wow, you've only had 4 fights, and he's had 60, and he's done this, he's won that." But it's on the night, basically. You know, this is what I've been training for this fight against him. So it'll all come out in the wash on the night, won't it? So
absolutely. Well, I'll say big good luck to you as well, and can't wait to see you in action. As well as that, looking a little bit further forward, I know obviously at this time you're going to be fully focused on this one, and obviously there's only 2 weeks out. But in terms of like an ideal world type of thing, looking past this one maybe to like end of the year or something, or a little bit further forward in time, what are some of your plans and goals looking forward in time a little bit more?
If I'm going to be totally honest with you, I've had a few pit fights, and don't get me wrong, I love it. It's great, honestly. It's the rawest form any kind of combat you can be involved in. And yeah, I've done well so far with what I've done so far. So yeah, but I'm trying to broaden my combat skills, if you get what I'm saying. Because before being in pit, I've never fought in ring. So I've fought once in ring, and then this next fight I've got in 20th of May, I've never fought in a cage before. So this is a first for me as well. So it's another box ticked off. And like I say, it means that I can go in a pit after this one, or in a ring, or in a cage. So who knows? But yeah, there's been offers there, mate, for after this fight. But like I've said to anybody who's offered me anything, I want to get this out of the way first, because this is big for me. This is big for me. So especially with me, I wouldn't say inexperienced, because people who I've been around and people who I've been training with and things like that, I think I'm picking up more and learning a lot more. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I just want to get this one out of the way, and then we'll see what happens after that. But there is offers there, so.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that it's opening doors for you and everything, basically. I mean, it's opening opportunities. So that's good news, that is. So to take a look at your past fights as well, obviously we need to give those a mention. As you say, I mean, the pit fighting side of things is like one of the most brutal things you can do, and the most fast-paced. It really is something else. So I want to actually go all the way back to, and I know we spoke about this on the phone, but where you first got the idea to fight professionally, you know, because I know it wasn't something you had a massive background in, and I think it's really cool that you pretty much jumped in the deep end, basically. I think with Butch Brown was the first one. So let's go back to where it all started for you in that sense.
Yeah, I can remember it as clear as day. What happened actually? That part of my life, it were, well, maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. This is yeah, it would have been about 3 or 4 years ago, before COVID came about. So literally, I mean, my life I was a bit of a, I don't know, bit of a rough patch, I suppose you could say. And I was sat in a restaurant with my mate, having a bit of food, and probably a few pints as well, because I was in a bit of a rut there, where we're, you know, drinking quite a bit and partying and etc. And yeah, we're just looking on his phones, and it popped up on my mate's phone on Facebook. This new bare knuckle. It's only up road, about 10-15 miles up road from Doncaster. Like, are asking for someone who was at my weight at that time. So I thought about it, and I went to watch one a few months before it. One of my pals were fighting on it, like. And a few people there were saying to me, well, you should get on it. You should get on it. You should have a go, you know. And I thought about it then. I thought, no chance. But this one time, like I say, we sat at this restaurant eating some food, and it popped up, and I thought, you know what? Because I'm doing what I'm doing and drinking and going out on weekends and parties and benders and all that. And I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to just stop everything I'm doing. Get some training in, and I'm going to do it. So that's what I did. Stopped drinking, started training, did a little bit of a camp. It wasn't out serious, you know what I mean? I just thought, I'll just get in there and throw a few punches about, and we'll see where we go like. But yeah, got a stoppage in that fight, and I loved it. It was great. There's just the feeling of it, being in there, people watching you, cheering you on, and everyone, you know, being in that spotlight, just you and him, just trying to tear each other apart, really. Yeah, I just fell in love with it straight away. And since then, yeah, I just carried on. But the thing is, they had another show after that first fight. So I missed the first one. So I was on their second show. The third show, what they should have been having, got cancelled through COVID, with the social distancing and whatnot. So they cancelled the show. But I was going to be fighting for a belt. Obviously, it was a new show. So we're going to be fighting for a belt on that next next show. So I trained for it, and I think it was like a week before when all this, social distancing and stay at home and all that came out. So that got cancelled. So there was like a bit of a layoff from it all. I stopped training and then fell back into another, bit of a rut again in lockdown. I wasn't working because obviously there were COVID. I wasn't training, put weight back on, and so when it did come back round that we could go back out now, and everyone started to get back to normal, I started back training again, and so I took a fight on at Stoke-on-Trent for Bad to the Bone with Stefan against someone who had fought on that show where I had my first fight, and he'd been on the first one as well. Like, so yeah, he'd had a couple of fights, and big strong guy, Rob Payne. We jumped in ring, and I stopped him in second round. But let me tell you, that man can hit like an horse, and I felt his shot in that first round. If anyone's watched video, but nice guy, very nice guy. So we still speak now, and good friends. But that's what I love about it as well. The people who I've met through doing this as well, unbelievable. I mean, just out of respect, nice people. I mean, growing up, when you think about people who are hard men and things like that, and I look back now, I think I was totally wrong. These people who I meet, these fighters, are hard men. Hard men. So anyone who wants to jump in to a pit or a ring or anything with no gloves on and give it all and fight till death, have got respect off of me, and I'm sure off a lot of people as hard men. So that was the second fight, and then I went on Spartan last August, I think it was. Had a fight on there. We had a few hiccups with opponents pulling out on that one, and so I had a fight in August last year on that, and I won that again in second round against a big strong lad. Now we're on to this 20th of May in Cage. So we'll see where we go from there, mate.
Absolutely amazing journey so far, but I really think for you, obviously, the best is yet to come. Do you know what I mean? Even though we're talking at this point and you've done some good stuff, the best stuff is yet to come. So, touching on a couple of other things, obviously, you're training now. With this, don't give away anything that people can use if any of your opponents listen to this or whatever. But it would be good to just get a little bit of a feel for like what you're doing with your training, because obviously you've evolved from where you started. You just did a little camp for the first one, and obviously you're doing a lot more now. So it'd be good to just touch on that briefly, even though it's normal for you, it's what you do all the time. But I think people would be interested to hear about that.
Yeah. So like I say, before COVID, I trained with his personal trainer. He's called Johnny Wattham. A great guy. I look up to him so much. He's absolutely amazing. He's one of, I'm blessed to have him around me, to be fair, because he's such a nice guy and he helps me so much. He's brought out the better person in me. So I have a lot of one-to-one with him, like once a week. We have a set day. But before COVID, I used to train with him 2 or 3 times a week in group sessions and things like that. I have him once a week, and I train with Rico Franco at his gym. Obviously, in the boxing side of things, with Johnny, I do a lot of strength conditioning, high-end stuff. And then, like I say, when I'm working away, I try and take away what I've learned from John and Rico just to keep my sen going while I can get back and then get back into the gym. I just have to keep my sen ticking over when I'm away. So
absolutely, yeah. And another thing that you mentioned to me again when we spoke on the phone is obviously you've got a bit to juggle because obviously with work and with training and with looking after your daughter as well. Now, I always say to people that there's I got a lot of respect for people putting their personal selves out in these type of interviews because I don't care what anyone says, it is actually a brave thing to do to speak about your life and everything. So when we touch on this, I'm just saying that. But there was a situation you went through with like a custody battle and whatnot and some issues. So again, as much as you'd like to say, as little as you'd like to say, I really don't mind. But I think it's be inspiring for the dads out there who are basically going through the same thing or they've been through the same thing, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So it does. I'll be honest with you. I think this is the reason why I've not probably fought as much as what I should have. Obviously, there's been bumps in the road along the way. A lot of it's, like I say, the COVID situation. I mean, no one could help that. That was just one of them things. But I probably could have had a couple more fights if I could have committed myself a bit more to train. And but I have got my daughter full time. Last year, it was a long drawn out process, like, and I mean it has been going on since she was a baby, like. But yeah, she's 13 now, so, and I've had her for the last nearly 3 years. Just got full custody last year through the courts. But one thing, she helps me as well, really, because I was going to knock it on the head. Like around Christmas time, I said, I'm not going to do it no more. And I'm not, but she come round, put her arms around me and said, I want you to keep doing it because you're good at it. So that gave me a boost and a kick up ass. And yeah, she comes to the gym with me sometimes. She comes running with me sometimes. Sometimes she'll follow me on her electric scooter. She enjoys it. She loves it. But yeah, it has been a long process, which is difficult for your mind as well when you're going through something like that, especially when your kids are concerned. So to put your energy into all that and train as well, I probably took myself away from my training just to concentrate on that a bit, probably after my last fight. But yeah, we got there in the end. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it worked out for you and it worked out for her and everything. And it goes to show there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Because well, I mean, I got so many mates where they've been through that type of thing, or they're going through that type of thing and not being able to see their kids and all sorts of stuff. And it's terrible. It's like just ripping someone's heart out of their chest. I mean, even just the way they feel about it, you know. If there's anyone going through what you went through with that, I mean, would you have any words of advice for them or anything in terms of there's a light at the end of the tunnel, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, looking back years ago, I could never imagine myself being in this situation. Like being in my full-time care. But like I say, I feel like as well, this bare knuckle and this boxing and being in the right frame of mind, because if for me, if I'm training and I've got a fight coming up and I've got a date and I'm on it and I'm not drinking and I'm eating properly and my mind is so much healthier and so much better. So yeah, the situation with my daughter is, if I give any advice to anybody, is just never stop. Always think that there's something you can do, and there's the right advice out there, and there's the right roads to go down. I mean, if it were years ago that this come about, I'd have been. If I'd not been seeing her for a bit, I'd have gone out on piss and thought that bottom of a bottle were the answer. But as I've grown older and coming into, from a boy to a man, I suppose, you have to start thinking to yourself that the only person who can change a situation in your life is yourself. So you can't just, go and kick off, or you can't just go and say you're going to do this and this and that. You've got to think about things and do it properly, because there's obviously a child involved. But yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Well, like I say, I'm glad that you came out the other side of it and found the light at the end of the tunnel for you, for her, for everyone involved. And yeah, people going through the same thing. There is hope. So I'm glad we got to get that out there. Last couple of things then, before we wrap this up. One thing I want to ask you, you mentioned a few times in this about like the state of mind and the mental side of things. And I think that the mental side of fighting is interesting, because it's something that people don't see except from the fighters themselves, if you get what I mean. So on the build up to a big fight, like a week out or a couple of weeks out, like you are now, let's get into what you're feeling. If you're feeling nervous, excited, all different things. I know you'll fight anybody, so that side of the mentality is sorted. But on the build up to, literally going to war, what are you feeling in your mind and everything?
Yeah, it's a funny one, that, because I think sometimes I could be my own worst enemy. I can beat myself up. So if I hadn't trained properly one day, I could beat myself up. But then a day later, I'll beat anybody. Do you know what I mean? It's a funny thing what your mind can do to you. Especially like I say, when it gets closer and closer. But yeah, you just got to tell yourself and be confident, and knock them bad thoughts away and get them out your head, and just try your best to focus on the goal and what you've been working on. So yeah. But yeah, like I've said, when you said I'll fight anybody, I've literally I didn't even ask no questions about this opponent at all. I got offered the fight and I just took it straight away. Same like one of my pals was saying, it depends how far you want to go as well, because I've literally like paid for all my training myself. I've never had no like sponsors or anything, or no, nothing at all. I've always paid for everything. And I said to her, I'd fight in my underpants against anyone. I don't care. I'm not bothered about all this like fans and followers and all that. And I've got people who've been to every fight, who come to my fights, the same faces, and it's the faces what I want there and I need there. Anyone else who comes to support is welcome, and I love it, and I appreciate everyone who buys a ticket. But yeah, I just want to thank the same people, exactly the same faces, the same group come every single time. I just can't thank them enough. It's that gives me a buzz as well. So I'm thinking about them as well. Leading up to the fight, I'm thinking, you're in there and you've brought all these people from different. Some of them don't know each other, or some of them met each other just coming to my fight, and you brought all them to this one night just to come and see you, and they're all going to meet each other and they're all going to drink and they're all going to have a good night. And that plays on my mind as well, because I feel like I need to do them proud, and I need to do my kids proud, and I need to do myself proud. So yeah, all sorts goes through your mind.
I love it though. I love that real sort of genuine insight, like I say, into what goes on behind the scenes, what people don't see. Funny enough, my last question was who you'd like to thank, but we've covered that nicely, and it's really good to give them a shout out, because without obviously the people coming to watch, nobody would have the opportunity to fight, obviously. So it's good to thank them, and it's good to get that mention. So on that note, the last thing for me to do is just to thank you for your time and taking time out of your busy schedule, and I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have as well, and I hope it gets you some more exposure, basically.
Yeah, cheers, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries at all. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.